2023 has been a year for movies so far, and many include scenes which, after watching, leave you thinking, WTF. We covered 10 of these already in another video. Make sure you go and check out that one right after this. And now, because 10 just wasn't enough, here are 10 more. So let's dive back in. It's Adam from What Culture again, and here are 10 more biggest WTF movie moments of 2023. Number 10. The MCU's first F-bomb, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 gave Marvel Cinematic Universe fans something many never thought they'd ever see or hear: an uncensored F-bomb. Though several MCU movies have featured obscured utterances of the F-word, James Gunn decided to drop one unobscured use of F on his way out of the door. And hilariously enough, it's not even used for a badass or emotionally fraught moment. In typically subversive James Gunn fashion, he uses it on a comparatively mundane scene where Peter Quill explains to Nebula how to open a car door on Counter-Earth. After Nebula finally figures out how to unlock the passenger door, she asks Quill, "Now what?" To which he exasperatedly says, "Open the f***ing door." Though the MCU has flirted with adult content in the past, it was genuinely surprising to hear the series, which counts family audiences as its bread and butter, let even a single slither of strong profanity make it into the final cut. A pleasant surprise though, to be sure. Number 9. Shyamalans Cameo as an air fry salesman, Knock at the Cabin. It just wouldn't be an M. Night Shyamalan movie without the director making a hilariously blatant wink-wink cameo. And though his role in Knock at the Cabin was a little more restrained than usual, it still counts among his more bizarre cameos to date. Halfway through the film, when Leonard turns on the TV, for a few moments we can see Shyamalan playing a man on a shopping network demonstrating an air fryer. Given that he's taking part in an infomercial, it provides a perfect in-universe reason for Shyamalan to make direct eye contact with the audience, even while spouting ridiculous product-shilling dialogue like, "Amazing fried chicken and a lot less guilt." It is a distracting cameo for sure, but in the best possible way. Number 8. The Suicide Loomily, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now, of all the fun cameos in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, who had a suicidal Loomily on their bingo card? After Luigi is captured and imprisoned in Bowser's castle, he meets the castle's various other caged prisoners, including a blue Luma, who despite their cute appearance, harbors a deeply nihilistic streak. Evidently, Loomily has spent a good while in the slammer, having been driven to suicidal insanity by their imprisonment, to the extent that their entire dialogue throughout the movie revolves around wishing for the sweet release of death. Hell, when their near death is averted at the last minute, they even seem disappointed by it. That the fiercely image-conscious Nintendo signed off on something so deranged is genuinely surprising. Fun fact, the Loomily was voiced by co-director Michael Jeleniek's daughter, Juliet. Number 7. The ambulance scene, Cocaine Bear. It's telling that a pair of kids doing coke is only like the third most WTF thing in Cocaine Bear, a film which undeniably peaks with that messed up ambulance chase. After paramedics show up to tend to a gravely wounded Ranger Liz, they too find themselves attacked by a coke-huffing bear, leading to a frantic chase as they drive away from the heavily intoxicated animal. But the bear is able to keep up with the ambulance and eventually dives into the back, throwing Liz out and causing her face to be brutally dragged across the concrete ground, killing her. As for the two medics, one has his hand torn off before being fatally mauled, while the driver crashes the ambulance, fatally ejecting herself through the windscreen. In a film that certainly could have gone harder in places, this scene epitomized the go-for-broke vibe the whole film should have been shooting for. Number 6. Wonder Woman's green screen cameo, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. There's no two ways about it. Shazam! Fury of the Gods was a big ol' letdown. And the only thing weirder than its aggressive Skittles product placement is that phoned-in cameo from Wonder Woman herself. After Billy Batson sacrifices himself during the climax, Wonder Woman shows up, interrupting Billy's solemn death with her screeching guitar theme before repairing the wizard's broken staff and using it to raise Billy from the dead. It was a foregone conclusion that Billy would be resurrected, but Wonder Woman's presence just sticks out like a sore thumb here. She's got basically no connection to these characters, and her entire interaction with them feels oddly disconnected. That's because, as is painfully obvious throughout the scene, Gal Gadot clearly didn't film her role opposite the rest of the cast, a fact later confirmed by director David F. Sandberg. It's hilariously clear that Gadot is simply acting opposite stand-ins, at which point you have to question why they even bothered including her in the first place. Evidently, it was a desperate corporate decision on the part of Warner Bros. In an attempt to boost Shazam 2's box office, a gambit which fell spectacularly flat. Number 5. The Empty Arena Fight, Creed 3. In his filmmaking debut, Michael B. Jordan promised that Creed 3 would have a number of anime influences, the most theatrical of which emerged during Donnie's climactic title clash with his childhood friend Dame Anderson. Midway through the battle, the crowd suddenly disappears, and the pair appear to be brawling in an empty arena. But Jordan goes further than that, suddenly placing prison bars against one side of the ring, symbolizing the fact that Dame spent almost 20 years in prison. The rest of the round deploys strange lighting effects and extremely wide-angle camera work, until it ends with perhaps the most directly anime-inspired flourish of all, the Naruto mimicking visual of Donnie and Dame punching each other at the exact same time. In the wrong hands, this could have come off horribly goofy, yet despite its material strangeness, it basically works. Number 4. Megan sings Titanium, Megan. Though Megan's overall WTF potential was unfortunately limited by its PG-13 rating, it nevertheless got a solid amount of mileage out of its killer robot doll concept. It's tough to pick just one outlandish moment, but perhaps the most unexpected scene occurs in the entire movie after Megan has caused the brutal death of her owner Katie's bully Brandon. That night, Katie gets ready for bed and asks Megan about what happened, to which Megan riffs bluntly on the nature of death, assures Katie she'll always be safe, and then lullabies her with a fundamentally creepy rendition of David Guetta's and Sia's Titanium. Both hilarious and completely terrifying, this was the scene that confirmed beyond any doubt that the filmmakers knew exactly what they were doing and were absolutely 100% in on the joke. Number 3. John falls down the Sacrika steps, John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick Chapter 4's climax sees John preparing to meet the Marquis Vincent Bisset de Garmont at the Sacrika at sunrise for a duel to death. However, with Garmont placing a massive bounty on John's head, he faces one hell of an uphill struggle making it to the Sacrika. After murdering his way across Paris, John finally battles his way up the Sacrika steps, only to be met at the top by Garmont's second-in-command, Chidi, who promptly kicks him back down the steps. John rolls down several flights before his momentum finally stops, but Chidi catches up to him and then throws him down the remaining flights, causing him to tumble all the way down to the bottom. As hilarious as it was brutal, this marked the precise point at which John Wick Chapter 4 earned its status as an all-time classic action sequel. Plus, the practical stunt work might be the best recent argument that the Academy needs a Best Stunt Coordination Oscar. Number 2. Chad survives getting stabbed tons of times, Scream 6. It was a genuinely pleasant surprise when the oddly likable jock Chad survived his brutal Ghostface attack at the end of the 5th Scream film. Yet this shtick was repeated in Scream 6 to decidedly less persuasive ends when, in the 3rd act, Chad is cornered by 2 of the film's 3 main Ghostfaces, who promptly turn him into a pincushion by stabbing him a solid dozen-plus times. There's no doubt that Chad is dead when he falls to the ground, but in one of the most suspension of disbelief obliterating moments in the entire series, Chad is again revealed to have survived his injuries at the end. The filmmakers are clearly acutely aware of how ridiculous this is, but if they keep these absurd levels of plot armor up, they risk reducing the audience's concern for the core 4 to nothing. Number 1. Michael Jordan is kept off-screen, Air. Ben Affleck's Air is a mostly terrific movie that makes one truly bizarre creative decision, keeping Michael Jordan at the fringes of his own story. Though he technically appears in the sports drama as played by Damian Young, we're never given a clear shot of his face and only occasionally hear him speak. Affleck has rationalized this by claiming that Jordan is simply too big to be portrayed on screen, preferring for the audience to project their own mythic interpretation of the sports megastar onto the few glimpses of him we get throughout the movie. All the same, it's arguably more of a distraction given how precisely the movie disguises his face here, especially during the pivotal meeting between Nike and the Jordans, where actor Young is somewhat awkwardly blocked throughout the scene to ensure his face is never shown. And there we have it, folks, our list of the biggest WTF movie moments of 2023 so far. But please do let us know down in the comments of any that we've missed off, or your favourite from this list. And while you're there, give us a like and a cheeky subscribe. If you want to follow me on socials, I am at Strawn87 on Twitter and on Instagram. Come and say hello to me on there. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, take care.